You know, I had a really cool background behind me on my computer of different renders of the Mario movie characters, but because my background screens are so bright, it ended up washing out my face. So until I get some kind of front light to be pointed directly at me that doesn't blind me, I'm just gonna stick to a black background for now. Well, it's been about 2 weeks since the Super Mario Bros. Movie came out, so I figured it's time I give my review of it, since I don't think I can review the movie without giving at least light spoilers. The Super Mario Bros. Movie follows, of course, the Super Mario Bros. Mario and Luigi. Both of them quit their jobs in construction, a nod to the 1984 NES game Wrecking Crew, to start their own plumbing business. After learning of a water main about to burst in downtown Brooklyn, Mario and Luigi set out to investigate. They go underground only to be sucked through a warp pipe, where Mario lands in the Mushroom Kingdom where he meets Toad, and Luigi winds up in the Dark Lands where he encounters Bowser. After explaining to Toad what's happened, Toad takes Mario to Princess Peach and her castle, while Bowser takes Luigi hostage because he thinks Luigi and Mario are going to thwart his plans to take over the Mushroom Kingdom and marry the princess. Several nods and references to other games in the franchise, including Mario Kart, Luigi's Mansion, and the Donkey Kong series, are made throughout the movie. There's nothing that really stands out to set it apart from other entries in the Mario series, apart from the fact that it's a film. But that's not really a bad thing. Staying faithful to the source material allows it to keep from going too outlandish or too distant from what it's supposed to be based on. And we've seen what happens when that risk is taken. That being said, I do feel the movie is pretty rushed. There were a lot of moments where I felt the movie could have just taken it back, taking it slow, giving some time to really develop the moment, really develop the characters. Like when Mario first met Princess Peach, or when Donkey Kong and Mario end up having some time alone while they were eaten by a giant tsunagi fish, I think it's called. I do have to wonder if there were some moments that were cut from the movie, because it is very fast paced and it just keeps going and going and going. Like there's no room to breathe in this movie at all. And it's barely over the 90-minute mark, so it is a short movie. Granted, it is a children's movie, it's from Illumination, and kids do have short attention spans, I guess, but I'm pretty sure they could have just sat back and relaxed for a bit. Like, you know, let the griddle sizzle for a bit before you toss out the grease. Moving on to the main characters, let's start with the stars of the show, Mario and Luigi. I like how they're represented in this film. Mario is the go-get-em, up and at 'em, all-or-nothing kind of guy who wants to take risks and be the best that he can possibly be without having to answer to anyone that tries to bring him down. Luigi is the ride-or-die who does everything he can to support Mario and be there by his side, whether things are going great or going tragic. The dynamic between them is really a true brotherhood, and you can really tell this especially when they're separated after they get sucked into the warp pipe. Like when Mario stands up to Cranky Kong after Cranky Kong denies use of the Kong army. Or Luigi when he reminisces about when he and Mario were babies and Mario defended him from a baby Spike bullying him. Also, I really enjoyed how they used the baby forms from Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. That got a chuckle out of me. Charlie Day is great in his voice acting of Luigi. And Chris Pratt, I think he really proved that he was a good choice to voice Mario. Against initial fears he would just be another Owen Grady or Star-Lord. Neither of them have the Italian accents throughout the movie made famous by Charles Martinet. However, they do put the accents on in the opening sequence where they're introduced in their little commercial that was also an advertisement for the movie during the Super Bowl. Which brings me to a really awesome point. They got the rap from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. On my list of references that I expected to be in this movie, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show rap was pretty close to the bottom. I'm pretty sure if I go watch the movie again, I can find a Hotel Mario reference if I look deep enough. And speaking of Charles Martinet, he even gets a couple cameos in the film. After the commercial bit, Mario asks Luigi, do you think the actions were too much? And then behind them, a character tells him, it's perfect! Woohoo! And the character's even based on Mario's appearance in the original Donkey Kong, where he was called Jumpman. And he's also playing an arcade game called Jumpman, even though it is Jumpman. So is Jumpman, or as it's called in the movie Giuseppe, playing a video game based on himself? And on that note, there's another scene where Mario is in his room playing Kid Icarus on an NES. Yet the movie is based on the video game that was on the NES in real life. So what kind of fourth dimension, paradoxical, self-aware but not self-aware metaverse are the Mario Brothers living in, to where they're playing the NES, the game console that hosts the very game that made them famous in real life? Anyway, moving on from the Mario Brothers for a bit, Toad is the adventurous comic relief of the bunch. Granted, the whole movie's a comedy, but when you consider all the tropes that each character fills, Toad is definitely the comedian of the bunch. And that makes sense. Toad is voiced by Keegan-Michael Key, who does a fantastic job as Toad. He resembles the version seen in Captain Toad, I believe, and he's always 100% up to the challenge, making a point to Princess Peach that he promised to stick by her side and defend her no matter what. Though, kind of hypocritical of Peach to make Mario go through an obstacle course to prove he's ready to take on Bowser, yet Toad just says, "I'm ready!" That's SpongeBob. Toad just says he's ready to take on Bowser, and Peach is like, "Oh, Toad, that's brave. Okay, join us." Okay, my boy Mario just went through hell to get the opportunity to save his brother, and you let this little guy join you just because he says he's brave. That aside, Toad is definitely down for the ride, and he's arguably the most capable and ready to take on Bowser with the exception of Peach. Speaking of Princess Peach, I found her portrayal in the movie to be really fun. It's reminiscent of Paper Mario 2 and the Nintendo Power comic series Super Mario Adventures. She's a very proud princess who does everything she can to protect the Mushroom Kingdom and its citizens, the Toads. She has a sprinkle of mystery surrounding her also, in that she doesn't know where she originally came from, and her earliest memory is when she arrived in the Mushroom Kingdom. Maybe the element of mystery could have been saved for a potential sequel that maybe could have Rosalina from Super Mario Galaxy, because Princess Peach does mention there's a lot of galaxies out there. But regardless, I think it's a welcome addition to her story arc. It just adds a bit more to her character that's normally just a damsel in distress. Now we have her with depth. Shigeru Miyamoto put it best when he said he couldn't wait to see a spirited Peach when he introduced Anya Taylor-Joy as her voice actress. And that's exactly the right word I would use. She's very spirited. She's strong but light-hearted, dominant to establish herself as a leader, but soft to give a sense of humanity. Up next, we have Donkey Kong, who is...
Ah! You got the cat box! Oh my...
Seth Rogen. Honestly, I don't know why so many people were up in arms with Chris Pratt being Mario, because Seth Rogen did nothing to separate himself from the character. It's literally just Seth Rogen with a Donkey Kong suit on. I don't hate the portrayal at all. I think it's pretty good for Donkey Kong how he's supposed to be in the movie as this kind of bullyish character with the cranky dad. Pun intended, because it's Cranky Kong. So it works for who Donkey Kong is in the movie. It's Seth Rogen! There's nothing more and nothing less. We also get the DK rap from Donkey Kong 64. Though they didn't credit the composer in the end. Which, really? You credited all the other music, but you didn't credit the DK rap? The supporting cast also does well in their roles. Most notably Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek.
Behold, the king of the Koopas!
And Julia Jelinek as Luma Lee.
The only hope is the sweet relief from death.
Finally, there's Bowser. Peach, you're so cool. And with my star, we're gonna rule. Peach, understand, I wanna love you till the very end. Peaches, 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 I love you. Oh. Yeah, I love Bowser in this movie. 1000% Bowser steals the show. He's huge, he's menacing, his facial expressions are so emotive, and Jack Black! I don't think Nintendo nor Illumination could have done a better job casting Bowser, no matter how hard they tried. Jack Black is phenomenal as Bowser. And when we inevitably get a sequel, I really hope we get more Bowser, even though at the end he gets shrunken down and he's kept in a bottle inside Princess Peach's castle. Also, during his musical number, we can see that the brand of the piano is Ludwig von Koopa. So now I mentioned at the end credits, they didn't attribute the DK rap to its composer. That's not the only gripe I have with the music in this movie. Now, I'm not talking about the original music or the remixes of the existing video game songs. All of that is spot on. What I'm talking about is the use of licensed music. I'll give credit where it's due. It is all 80s music, so it's time period correct to when the NES was at its peak, and Super Mario Bros. Was dominating the video game industry. But it's just too much licensed music. Like, it's uncanny how out of place most of the licensed music is. I would get it if they were, say, cover versions done in the style of Super Mario Brothers, or like 8-bit remixes of it, but it's just straight up Bonnie Tyler's Holding Out for a Hero, Aha's Take on Me, and other songs that just don't belong in a Super Mario Brothers movie. And if you look at the soundtrack on iTunes or Spotify, you can see there's original tracks that are supposed to be in the movie. I have to assume that this was a concession made by Nintendo to Illumination, because they always have licensed music. There's literally the movie Sing! There's nothing but licensed music! But at least they're covers sung by the characters in the movie. I don't know if this was done to like attract non-gamers to go see the film, but do you really need to do that for the Super Mario Brothers? Hopefully when the movie comes out on home media, we can get like, say, a director's cut that not only extends the scenes that I mentioned were too rushed, but also puts the original music that was made for the movie back into it. Because that would just make it so much better in my opinion. Like, I guess I like when Mario is doing the obstacle course, we get Holding Out for a Hero, but all I can think of is Shrek! Anyway, if you're a fan of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, you're gonna be a fan of this movie. It's a faithful enough adaptation that only takes the liberties needed to develop the characters and the plot more. Music aside. Is it the best video game movie adaptation ever made? I'll leave that to personal opinion. But what I can say is it's definitely a step up from the last time the Super Mario Bros. Were adapted into film, and it shines a beacon of hope that we'll see the Super Mario Bros. Film franchise continue. If Yoshi's egg hatching at the post-credits scene isn't enough of an indication that we're getting a sequel, Nintendo's wallets are definitely an indication of it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Have a super rest of your week. Stay safe. Take care.